So I want to talk to you about this Diddy trial, man. We got a lot to get into. Cassie, she exposing a lot. How you feel about her testifying that Diddy made male escorts urinate in her mouth and Diddy was rubbing the male escorts DNA on his nipples? It's crazy, man. It's a lot going on, man. How you feel about what's going on?
Yeah, man, that's another level right there, man. Like a lot of that stuff for me was like it was a lot to intake because I try to tell people be like, well, Cassie stayed, this and that. Well, people gotta understand, like, bro, when you dealing with a person, I don't know, because a lot of people never, been in a situation, so it's best to explain. When you dealing with a person with that type of wealth who could change your life, you basically will do anything for them. I hear Boosie and everybody be saying what they saying. Well, let's say, Boosie, you got people like that around you now. We got people that did time for Boosie like that around him. I mean, that'll do time, that did time for him. It's documented. What happens is when you rich and you got an opportunity to change people's life, people tend to do things that they would have never done. Look at Sean, did 10 years for him. Me, I would have took a life for him. I ain't gonna lie, I told y'all that plenty of times just by the loyalty because of what he did for me and what the opportunity was for me and my family. So I can imagine what Cassie and everybody else had to go through for so long. So many people had to keep that secret. Like we like since people don't understand. Like I'm 43. Since I was in school, we've been hearing rumors, but nothing concrete like this. So when you hear this finally, and then he have to admit to this because he trying to plead his innocence. So things that's already documented, he know the feds got evidence of, he have to admit to it in front of his family, in front of his daughters, in front of everybody. You get what I'm saying? And for so long, so many people kept that secret. I don't know how, like Wendy Williams. I say this because I say it's a repetitive cycle of mysterious like mysterious things that happen to people that know about this situation before we did. When you look at Wendy Williams, it's like they wiped her whole memory. Justin Bieber, half of his face was gone. Everybody who look, if you look right now, Justin Bieber eating pizza, he's sending messages. Everybody know about Pizzagate. When you go through Instagram, once you get knowledge of what's going on in Pizzagate, then you go back and do your history of how long they've been doing it right in front of our faces. Not only Puffy, it's a culture. It's the people that's around them. It's Hollywood. It's Hollyweird. It's who they are. They belong to that. I don't know why people be seeming so amazed with what's going on right now. They belong to Satan. You get what I'm saying? That's the agendas they push is in your face. So some people just have to understand that when you're dealing with a person like that, you tend to do anything for them because if you don't, you go back to nothing. And the longer you're around a person, the further you come from, you remove yourself from nothing. What I mean is you don't want, if I go to the 12th grade, I don't want to quit school. That's like everybody didn't understand with the band. Okay, the more I did, I walked for cheesecake, I did this. So yeah, it was humiliating, but I'm getting closer and closer to my goal. And that's probably how she felt and all these other women felt dealing with that situation. I'm getting closer and closer to the promises he made. I'm getting closer. So yeah, I don't want to walk away after all right, you accepted one peeing in your mouth. The second one, you might feel a little different about what you like. I done took one and two, before you know it, it's three, four, five, and it's behavior. Um, so when people say she stood up, she took it willingly. Yeah, some nights, a bit like I said, a woman gonna do what her man do. You know what type of nigga, depending on what type of nigga she got. Every female, that's just who they are. And if you got money, they times 10. So I feel like it goes back to the other interview we did. A lot of people got hurt trying to keep Puff secret. Puffy could have dodged an indictment if he had just been himself. But being himself didn't give him the key to the thugs. It didn't give him the key to the men that attracted him. It didn't give him the key to the men that attracted Clive and all his friends. When you think of who started Uptown, is it? We think of Kim. She gone. Heavy D, gone. Albie Sure, down there white out. Puff, last man standing. And Andre Harrell. All these people knew Puff's secrets. All these people have been around him since day one. If you're around a person like that from day one, I'm pretty sure you know everything about him. To the people that's insensitive to the victims, I just want y'all to remember that his right-hand man, his name is Har Pierre. He's filed charges against him. sexual assault. All these people that came out, we talk about Cassie. Let's talk about we're establishing the character to build so we can visualize him.
Hey YouTube, I'm back with another video. So this is going to be a video regarding the Diddy trial. And so Neo and Usher was just named in a Diddy trial. And I really wanted to talk to you guys about this because, like I was saying previously in my previous video, these allegations, these speculations, all of these things that's kind of circling around Diddy has been like, basically it's been like talk for years. And all of these things are alleged. All of these things are speculation. But what I've heard, and like I said, I don't know any of this to be true, so I want to make sure to say allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. But what I've heard is that Puffy groomed Usher. I'm not exactly sure how Neo plays into everything. We know Neo's lifestyle and what Neo is into. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how all of these things kind of play out. But I was telling you guys, because people are making such a big fuss about Don Richards' testimony and basically saying that Don Richards did a really bad job and that the defense was able to poke holes into her story. And basically the defense just kind of ripped her and dragged her. And so people are saying, oh, well, Don Richards weakened the prosecution's case. And you have to understand, when a RICO is involved, there's a lot of evidence. And we have 4 to 5 weeks left. There are going to be a lot of people that's going to come and testify. There's going to be a lot of new allegations and accusations. There's going to be a lot more evidence provided and presented. So we do not know. We're at the very beginning of this whole trial. We do not know what is going to take place, what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to testify. We don't know what details are going to come out. So this is something that we literally just have to pay attention to and watch and wait, because we literally do not know all of the things that's going to be revealed or unveiled, discovered, whatever the case. We don't know. I was watching an interview with, I believe his name is Freddie B. He was in the making of the band that Puffy, remember Puffy had that group that he made them walk to like Junior Cheesecake and all those things. And so Freddie was a part of that group. I believe his name is Freddie. I'm going to insert a clip at the beginning of this video, so you should have already seen it. And he gave so much insight. And Freddie has been talking for years. This is not his first interview. He's been talking for years about Puffy, how horrific Puffy was, what type of person he was. And the one thing that Freddie said that was I just got my dogs, and so I'm like watching to make sure they're good, because I just picked them up from daycare. So I'm always like really conscious about how their mannerisms, how they're acting, just to make sure that everything went well in daycare. I'm crazy about my dog, so that's why you see me looking around. Okay, so however, Freddie is basically saying, he basically was saying, Puffy was not the nicest person. You guys are going to see his interview, and basically I'll let him speak to it. He mostly spoke to the Cassie part, because the interviewer basically asked him, like, how do you feel about Cassie saying all of these things that Diddy did to her, and all of this stuff about, the sexual stuff, about how Puffy liked for Cassie to rub semen on his nose, all of these things. And I was so happy. Now, I want to show you guys his full answer, but I was so happy that he basically spoke to the mentality of someone who was in Cassie's position versus Diddy's position. Puffy was this well-known, very famous, very rich, very well-connected person, and Cassie was a 19-year-old girl. So the fact that people are not speaking to the power dynamic, the age dynamic, the wealth dynamic, all of these things play a part. Because, and I knew this was going to happen. I feel like people are being very, very hard on Cassie and Don. And like I said, I don't know what happened. I just know what I believe to have happened, like based on the evidence and based on the testimony and based on all of those things. So we're going to see this thing unfold. And it's imperative that we pay attention and watch how everything kind of unfolds and why a RICO case is brought. Because Freddie was also talking about, and I hope his name is, I think it's Freddie Gibbs. I think that's his name. But he was also talking about what Boosie the rapper has said. Now, we're not taking advice from Boosie. Nobody on planet Earth should take advice from Boosie. Boosie, we just gonna let him rap. But in regards to being decent, in regards to being righteous, being a fairly moral person, no. Like, Boosie is the same person that hired a woman to violate his son and thought that it was okay because his son is a male and I think he was 15 or 16 years old. But obviously this person is not right in the brain if that person felt that it was appropriate and okay to hire an adult woman to do things to his child. So, Bootsy is not a person that people who have moral sense, like people who have moral standards, people who are decent should ever listen to. Okay? However, I understood the argument he was attempting to make, but he is the wrong person to, no. We not listening to Boosie, child. Boosie has a lot. And another thing about Boosie, it is my belief he reveals so much about himself and how and who he protect, who he take up for, who he wants to rally behind. And so I am not saying, listen, I don't know what Puffy did. What I believe and what seems to be the case is that he's a very sick man. However, we don't have proof right now that he's done anything. But the fact that Boosie is like, why is it a RICO case? And he was just like, basically, Cassie liked it and all. How do you know? How do you know? You don't know that. And a lot of times when he comes to the defense of someone, to me, he's saying a lot about himself. And it's the reason he does it. Because he's probably like, shit, I can be next. Because like these men who are coming out and finding value and taking up for Puffy, it's like, it's ringing the alarm for them. It's like, okay, what did you do that you're afraid of that's going to come out? Because right now you don't know, just like nobody else knows, but I'm going to digress. But yes, USHER and NEYO apparently was named. I don't know if they're going to be testifying. I don't know if they're testifying for Diddy. I don't know if they're testifying for the prosecution. I don't know if their names was brought up because they were at a party. I'm not exactly sure. I just seen the headline basically saying that USHER and NEYO has been named in the Diddy trial. We know that Diddy was basically USHER's mentor. Like I said, I don't know what role NEYO plays. But I'm going to say, and I want to say, because I'm going to tell you guys what I've heard and seen, you know, before this court case. And this is allegedly. I do not know these people. I don't know any of this stuff to be true. But this is what me just kind of going down a rabbit hole and watching, like, you know, kind of interviews about what people talking about Diddy or whatever the case. This is what was said. What was said is they basically are part of some kind of grooming thing. And from my understanding, the way it goes is allegedly, according to interviews and what people have said, is that Diddy was groomed by Andre Harrell. Diddy then groomed USHER. USHER then groomed Justin Bieber. I don't know any of that to be true, but if you watch YouTube and if you've ever gone down a Diddy rabbit hole, those are the things that's been alleged. Those are the things that's been said. And so when I seen that Usher was named, I was like, this is about to get very, very interesting. And I think a lot is going to be discovered, a lot is going to come out. I think people who are right now on Diddy's side, they're looking at Cassie and Don Richards' testimony and thinking that's it. And it's not. RICO cases, that's never it. Those two testimonies will never be all the federal government have in regards to their evidence. No, it's the reason that it's speculated, or not even speculated. I believe it's known that the Fed has a conviction rate of 90+% because Cassie and Don Richards, their testimony is not all the evidence that's going to be presented. And so I think we're at the beginning of all of this stuff. I think that it's going to get very, very salacious, very sensationalized. I think we're going to hear more stuff because you have to remember as well, Diddy's been in the public eye for what, 3 decades? Like, I'm sure if any of this stuff is true, it didn't start with Cassie. It didn't start with Don Richards. It didn't start there. Because remember, at the time that he met Cassie, Cassie was 19. He was 37. So he was already famous, already had access and money and all of these things for many years. So I'm sure it didn't start with, if any of this stuff is true, I'm sure it didn't start with Cassie. Another thing that just popped in my head, I watched a Tasha K, and this was probably more than a year ago. I believe it was more because I don't watch her as much. I don't watch her at all anymore. But this was more than a year ago that Gina, which is a person that they keep mentioning because Cassie apparently found out about a girl named Gina. And then, of course, Kim was Puffy's child's mother. And apparently Cassie was, I guess, jealous, or her and Diddy had like kind of bumped heads or had disagreements regarding Gina and Kim. Gina was actually interviewed by Tasha K, and she said a lot of these things that Cassie is saying. Gina said that Puffy said that Cassie was the good one and Gina was the bad one. And Gina also said that Puffy was physical with her. He violated her physically. There was domestic violence, domestic abuse. So these things have been alleged for years. So USHER NEYO apparently is being named. I've heard Mary J. Blige name floated around. Justin Bieber name floated around. So we don't know where this thing is going to go. But I just kind of wanted to bring that short video to you guys because it is speculated and it's being reported right now that USHER and NEYO has been named in the Diddy trial, and they haven't disclosed what capacity, whether they're there for the defense, if they're there for the prosecution, if they were just at a party and the the government wants to speak with them or the defense wants to speak with them. We don't know why they were named, but they were named. And so I wanted to bring that to you guys. I'm going to insert, you guys should have already seen it, I'm going to insert a small clip with, I believe his name is Freddie. I hope his name is Freddie because I've said Freddie like 10 times. But you guys are going to see the clip in the beginning of the video. And so that's basically what I have right now. I'm going to watch intensely and I'm going to bring you guys everything. That's my dog drinking water. That's what you guys hear in the background. I'm going to bring you guys all of the information, everything that I know. And I want you guys to have a phenomenal night. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm tired. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.